Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is Prescription for Your Transformation: Real People, Real Conversations, and Real Success. And this platform has been around for 5 years, bringing to you incredible people from all over the planet, giving you some of their gems, some of their wisdoms that can absolutely transform your life. And one of the key things that I often will talk about, also in my coaching, is what is our identity? Who are we? And where more important is that when it's our own company? Because it's the thing that really defines us, that people can associate with, relate with, and then, buy your products. And if you have a great brand, then you're going to win the game. But you need the right people to help you. And so I'm so excited to be finding this incredible exemplar in the world of branding, talking to us about two things. First of all, this first session is about anything is possible. And then the next one we'll do a deep dive in branding itself. Justine Pogroske, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
So, it was really neat that we got to meet on Clubhouse. I mean, what an incredible platform where everybody's sharing their wealth of knowledge. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to capture your wisdom, your experience, just in about a 15-minute interview so that people can really get dialed in into the way that you think, and also potentially connect with you to help you, to have you help them do their branding. So let's go ahead and start off with the idea that anything is possible. And I'm excited to hear the story and your story, how you've made that possible.
So my story, I grew up in Johannesburg, South Africa. At a young age, I think I was always an entrepreneur. I started selling used toys in my backyard. I drew a huge sign that said, "All the toys are for sale." And we turned my backyard into an industrial toy storing ground. I don't think my mother was too happy because she was like, "Where are you getting this money from? And are you selling drugs?" And I actually wasn't, but I was definitely an entrepreneur from a young age. And I think it taught me how, like, I was just always branding. I was always branding things, always coming up with these little business ideas. Anyway, later on in life, about 11 and a half, we had something really bad happen. My mother was held up at gunpoint and was nearly shot to death. So we ended up moving to Australia. We packed our whole house up in a 40-foot container, moved to this beautiful city with a lot of opportunity. And I always had a great work ethic. I was lucky enough to work for a lot of the global advertising agencies, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But what I found was I was an entrepreneur. I wanted to be a free spirit. And I started my own agency called Million Dollar Branders. The reason why I called it that, it wasn't called that always. I changed the name because what I found was every single company or entrepreneur that I touched, when I started to work on their brand, there was this level that, they didn't believe in themselves. And I'm like a little spark. So I really loved bringing that out in them. And it got to a level that these companies that I started to brand were actually turning over millions of dollars. So I got my first building client a $5 million contract.
Mm.
I was 27 years old. So, that was fantastic. And I remember getting that text message on my phone saying, "Justine, I got the $5 million contract." So for me, it just showed, I was this little girl that came from Johannesburg, South Africa, from, a small little house in a small city, and basically it taught me what I could do. I mean, we came to Australia with absolutely nothing. We were sleeping on bean bags, and I was going to school 5 days a week and working all weekend at a donut shop. And then I go creating, money and income for a client of $5 million. So I think, anything's possible, and it doesn't really matter where you come from or your origin. It's you just got to do it. You got to start somewhere, and you've got to build your dream. You got to work your way to developing great skills. Doesn't matter what you do in life. Branding, though, I will say, is a very, very powerful thing. I mean, this builder in particular was up against about 5 other companies, but his proposal was unique and it looked amazing. And I know exactly why he got it. It was balancing his amazing personality with the presentation of his brand and really bringing that to the world.
So let me ask you this question, because you're obviously quite successful and you're obviously quite young as well. And so do people ever, tell you, you were just lucky, or, you just had what it took to get there? And how do you answer them? I mean, yes, clearly there's talent, right? Clearly there's focus, but that can start at any age. I mean, as we look at so many successful people, they didn't get started till their late 50s and 60s.
Absolutely. Like Colonel Sanders with
That's right.
KFC, right? So there you go. Perfect success story. So I think I definitely get asked that, and it has almost been a detriment. And I think people before they meet me, I'm quite well put together. I've got blonde hair. I'm the stereotype, as you can see. But a lot of the hard work, I think people, they say you get rewarded in public for what you do in private. And I have spent hours and hours and hours on computers. I've worked my way to where I've been and where I've got to. But my thing, I don't actually have negative people in my life. Someone said the other day, the words you speak become the house that you live in. And that's definitely what I believe. But to those people, I've never really taken notice. And I have had that a lot. And obviously, you've got to build a thick skin around it. It did used to kind of dig at me. But I think as an entrepreneur, you've got to choose even other people's words that you take into your house, and the house that you live in. The other thing is I'm very self-driven, and I've always been like that. I think because I didn't have a choice. I came literally from South Africa with nothing, and I knew we were poor, but my parents never told me, so I had to fend for myself. And I think I've always had this thing in my heart where I'm my own competition. So I don't look at anyone else. I've got tunnel vision. I don't look at what people are doing. I don't care how much money the next person has. It's about my own journey and my own life path in this life, because we all have our own gifts and they're going to be different. Like, imagine if we all looked the same, walked the same, talked the same. We've all got these unique gifts. And I think it's a matter of embracing that. So with me, I don't really take notice of those people, because even those people, sometimes they've got their own stuff going on. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors, as the saying goes, and you have to be your own advocate. I think that's how I would answer that.
So, so did you do any kind of specific, learning? I mean, any kind of courses, books? I mean, who are your mentors? Even if it's, a mentor that's passed away and written, books. I mean, who do you go? Who's your go-to person when you get stuck?
I read a fortune. Like, I'm such a big book person. Tony Robbins was the one who actually got me started on my journey. I remember how old was I? It was probably when I first came to Australia. I saved up and I went by myself as a little girl to one of his Unleash the Power Within conferences, and my whole family thought I was nuts, but it really set the foundation for what I believe in, and it really drove me. And I think some of the words that he said really resonated with me, because he came from a very poor family. He's got an amazing story, and look at what he's achieved. And it goes back to that thing, anything's possible. But on another note, I love Les Brown. Nelson Mandela is a huge one for me. As a little girl, I think I was about 6 years old, he came to speak at my school. I was privileged enough to hear him. And the one quote that I take with me in my life is, he said, "There's no passion to be found in playing small." And I absolutely love that, because even though, I have been small, it's always, I've always had this thing. It's almost a destiny. I know that I'm put on this earth. I've been given an absolute gift of creativity and, wittiness and that advertising talent to create livelihood for people. And that's my bit of not playing small. It's just something that's always stuck with me. I love Denzel Washington. I think that he's very wise. And of course, Will Smith. My mentors are not the usual, like not what normal people would say, I think. Matthew McConaughey, another one. And in terms of women, there is one woman who was an ex-South African lady. Her name's Gail Kelly. She was head of one of the Australian banks, and she was a school teacher. So, she got flown to New York. She was in a board meeting and was so high up in the company that she called her husband and said, "I feel like an imposter. I'm sitting," it was when the GFC hit, and She said, I don't even know why they want me here. And her husband said, well, if you're feeling like an imposter, you've done a pretty good job for the last 10 years, so keep going. And it just stems back to that. So those are pretty much who I look up to.
Yeah, Tony Robbins, has been one of my mentors as well, and that's how my personal world expanded, massively when I met him for the first time, and that was about 20 years ago. So,
Wow.
probably
He's
around the
amazing.
same time maybe that you got started, because you got started when you were pretty young, which is awesome. Um,
I'm so young. No, I'm kidding.
no, I mean the truth is that there's a ton of wisdom that you're sharing, and I think the challenge that so often happens to people is that they have a lot of naysayers around them. We're taught to think small, and it seems like you've broken through all those barriers. You've listened to the right people. You're doing the right things. And
Thank
there's a quote that I like. Genius is not born, but genius is made. And that's your 10,000 hours. I mean, it's working. It's clearly embracing the pain, if you will, of the work and the disappointment and the setbacks and everything else, and getting really stuck with the vision, and having the perseverance, just the true grits, as they call it. And so you're clearly are doing that. So
thank you.
so as you look to your future, right, in the world of branding, because truly this is, and it's interesting for me because as a physician, most of my colleagues have no clue what that actually means. And so it's such a revealing aspect of our world. And I actually changed my branding many years ago to represent basically my philosophy and what I do. And that's why I'm here in this platform as well. But as you look forward, I mean, in the world of branding, what do you see happening for you and your impact in the next 5 or 10 years?
I would love, love, love to see a lot more people develop their personal brands, because there are some amazing people in the world with a message that needs to be heard. And I think with these apps coming out, like Clubhouse, you can do it. And it's about real life connection. It's not just about putting a pretty photo on Instagram. And I think personal branding is the future, because that's what's going to drive humanity moving forward. People don't know that the power of their words and their brand could change a life. Doesn't matter if someone is sitting in a little village in Kenya, they could be listening on Clubhouse. Doesn't matter if someone's, going through an abusive situation in, a small country town in America or Australia. It's just, we need to help each other as humans. We're all put on this earth for a reason. And I think, like, I would love to help build some of those people that, need to get their message out. And I think that would be my gift. And then again, helping those companies who give people a voice. So a lot of these companies, like Nike, and, they really believe in people. They've got a good ethos. So I think that's definitely what I want to contribute towards. And then also giving people the power to believe in themselves. And I definitely like to speak on a lot more stages and get my message out to show people that if I can do it, they can do it.
Well, truly you're incredible. Truly you've got talent. And
Thank you so much.
it's so awesome, for me, in the work that I do, and I've been in the world of, personal transformation for quite some time, not only as a plastic surgeon, but, as a thought leader and as a coach. And my emotional currency is to see someone else succeed. And however I can support that process. And I can see exactly, that's really important for you as well, because you're absolutely right. In this world of the connectivity, that we were undergoing a danger, if you will, that with so much connectivity, we were becoming even more disconnected.
Absolutely.
We saw that with some of the apps, which we won't not mention, right? But what's really nice about the Clubhouse phenomenon, which I think is brilliant, it's actually bringing people closer that otherwise would never have met. I would never have met you in the process that I was working on. Well, maybe in a couple of years, perhaps, but at the rate
Yeah,
I was going, it was going to take a long time. And I think you're absolutely right, because now it's possible for just a young kid in the middle of the desert in some foreign country with a phone, and they can build an entire company. They can reach out to others with their ideas, And I think at some point, and this has been sort of the genesis of my platform, is, how do we tap into the collective wisdom and create the space of generative collaboration where we all can work together and raise that vibration, rather than having some elites, have all of it for themselves. We were talking earlier how some people that are incredibly wealthy are just unwilling just to give a small donation to those people that are in need. And these people that are needed, it's not by any fault of their own. It's just
And
unfortunate.
it's even time, like just give your time. I think that's so important. If you can't donate money, just some time, or just share a post, or just because every single little wave creates a big wave.
Yep. So you're going to be a force of good. I know you know where that comes from.
I hope so.
And so, well, gosh, I really want to thank you for today, and you truly are an inspiration for everyone. That
Thank you so much.
I know you started when you were 4 years old, but we know we all can start at any time. And look at me.
That's right. Just don't draw on the staircase. There will be repercussions for that.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I did that one. So how do people find you, Justine?
Okay, so they can follow me on Instagram. It's Justine Pogroske _official. It's a bit of a hard name to spell, but I'm sure you'll put the details below. And then my company is just @$1,000,000branders.
Wonderful. Well, Justine, thank you so much. It's enlightening, an example for the rest of us to lead the way. And thank you for being one of our guides. I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker. This is Prescription for Your Transformation. Real people, real conversations, and real success. Really, truly bringing the intelligence from all over the world. And today, the intelligence from Justine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Dr. Rademaker's Prescription for Your Transformation. Continue the path towards discovering your own authentic genius by tuning in next time for more real conversations with real people.